All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kelvin. Welcome back to Kelvechio. And in this match reaction, we're going to look at the response, the reaction to the team Arsenal 0, Sporting Lisbon 0. Now, I'm pretty sure you've seen the highlights or you've seen the game. And yeah, so I just kind of wanted to share some initial thoughts about the game. Obviously, excited, happy, delighted, proud of the boys, happy that we made it through to the semifinals, two semifinals in a row, the first time in our history. And of course, Mikel is getting a lot of credit for it, and I think the team has done a great job. He has done a great job as well. So we need to give Mikel and the boys credit for doing a wonderful job in getting us over the line. So we are through to the semifinals. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't free flowing football. It was a bit painful to watch, to be honest. Which I mean, that's been the theme of our season, right? Most of the games are a really tough watch, especially of late with Saka being out, Odegaard being not being in the team. The last few months have been really tough as an Arsenal fan, right? But job done, right? We got over the line. We are through to the semifinals, and we play Atletico, which, in my opinion, it's debatable. It might be a tougher draw versus Barcelona because I think the Barcelona defense is a lot shakier than the Atletico, so it's going to be a really tight affair. But I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts on today's performance. Yes, a little bit of mixed emotions because the big game is really City, right? I think we were expected to win this tie against Sporting Lisbon and qualify and make it through to the semifinals. So no surprise there, but still we need to congratulate the team, right? But looking forward to the game against City, this game was not ideal because it did not fill us with confidence. I don't think it filled the players with confidence. And there was a shot of Declan Rice at the end of today's game where the camera just kind of panned on him and he just like looked like, man, we made it through, but this is not good enough, right? So, like I said, we need to not be negative. This is going to be a positive review, but we also have to put things in context, right? Because this was a game that we played at home. And although we progressed, although we made it through, right, it was 0-0 at home. Did you enjoy that performance? Did I enjoy that performance? Obviously, the answer is no, right? Apart from the fact that it was nil-nil, it wasn't a really good watch at all because there was no real control, especially in the first half. I think in the second half, things changed, especially after Mikel made the subs and Trossard came on, Havertz came on, Max Dowman came on, and we looked more in control. We were able to keep the ball, but the first half lacked any cutting edge, no clear patterns of play, no identity in attack. And obviously, Madueke looks like one of the worst signings we've had in a long time because he doesn't fill you with confidence. I was expecting him to do a lot better, especially since Saka is out. He should have been the one to take on that mantle and lead our line. But Madueke looks like a downgrade, even from Martinelli. So that was one of my big takeaways. Yes, we didn't lose the game, but we also didn't win the game, right? There was no creativity, no flair. And I do want to admit that Eze tried a lot, and I think Eze comes out of this game. He's the one attacking player who gets credit from this game. He took shots outside the box. He did a little one-time flicks. He tried to make things happen, and he had that flair about him, but he wasn't supported. He was the only one, right? So overall, the attack, we look so flat. We look like we just ran out of ideas. And I want to give the team credit because, like I said, this was an improved performance compared to the game against Bournemouth, even the one against Southampton, because I did see our team, especially Zubimendi, playing more forward passes. Zubimendi took on that role of the number eight who would make runs, play that box to box role while Declan sat deep because we know that Declan is carrying an injury, but it still didn't look right. Right. So let's talk about the team shape. Let's talk about the structure. Let's talk about what's going wrong with our attack, right? like I said, there's a lot we can pick at, but I just want to look at it from an objective, structural standpoint. One of the things that has caused me concern in the last few weeks has been the distinct lack of intensity. Yes, we can say we lack quality because we don't have the superstar players in the attack. But I think what you lack in quality, like superstar power, like Olise or Dembele or Yamal, yeah, we don't have those caliber of players, attacking players, but we can notch it up when it comes to intensity and drive. And this is exactly what we get from Declan, but of course he plays in a central midfield, a more defensive role. But I don't see any of our attacking players having that, that gumption and that willingness to drive us forward and make something happen. They just look like average attackers, right? Some of them even look like championship players. And I have to say, this is one of the worst performances I've seen from Gyökeres. He didn't do anything good. I don't know what it was he's playing against his former team, but he just looked like a shadow of himself. He looked knackered. He looked like he wasn't up to the races today at all. The one good moment we had, especially like in the second half, right? We saw Trossard hitting the post with the header. But I want to also come back to Sporting because it's not just about Arsenal, right? They're playing against a really good opposition in Sporting. Sporting did press us pretty well. They held their shape and they were pretty deep. And of course, they played with a one attacker, which is Suarez. So we did face a low block. So it was really difficult to kind of find the spaces and create the stuff. So we have to give credit to Sporting. But I still think it wasn't good enough, right? Because we saw Sporting hitting the post. They had chances. And I'm just thinking, man, one of those chances are gonna go in. I don't know about you, but I felt uneasy for the game because I felt like, even David Raya, he's passing from the back. I think he made a couple of mistakes trying to pass from the back, and it was just so sloppy. And I'm like, man, one of those things are gonna go wrong. And that's what has happened to us in the past, right? Just one key mistake, and then our game plan goes out the window. But I did see, like I said, I want to give Mikel credit because I saw the changes. He recognized, yes, our attacking performances over the last few games have really been poor. So he changed things up a bit. And like I said, he gave Zubamendi the freer role. And consequently, Zubamendi was the man of the match today, right? So I did see some tweaks in terms of Zubamendi pushing forward more. He wasn't just sitting, but like I said, he was rotating. He was going forward, being more adventurous. He found himself in the wing a few times. A couple of left foot crosses going in the box. So he was like really working. I just saw increased performance from Zubamendi. He did try to play more like the ball more forward a few times, but still there was way too many back passes, right? Too safe, too conservative, sideways and backwards. Still, way too much of that. Um, Even though, like I said, offensively, defensively, we were pretty solid. We didn't really get threatened too much by Sporting. But the big problem is, right, the elephant in the room, especially in the last few weeks, has been our attacking play. The big question is because we are so structured and solid defensively, has that come at the expense of our attacking play? Right? Where is the free flowing football? Where is the attacking football? Where is the flair? Where is the 3 and 4 goals that we saw at the beginning of the season? That has completely vanished, right? Like I said, I don't want to scapegoat anybody, but Martinelli, inconsistent, right? We need an upgrade on Martinelli. We need somebody who can be a game changer on the left hand side. Madueke, same thing, right? He sparkles in moments, but overall gameplay is pretty sloppy. And Gyökeres, of course, isolated on top, not having any link up play with any of the other attackers. When he does get the chance one on one, he just kind of fluffs his line, right? He doesn't have the composure. He's not elite in terms of a top level striker, which I think can come in time. But right now, he lacks the composure, and it's pretty shocking to be honest. He's not at the Arsenal level. So in terms of our attacking play, it feels very robotic. It feels very immobile, static, predictable, slow, safe, and there is a lack of genuine risk taking, right? Which is why when players like Max Dowman comes on, everyone gets excited because he has that unpredictability, right? He doesn't care if he loses the ball, and that's what we want to see. We want to see someone who's committed to making the run, making something happen, taking responsibility, kind of like what Eze was trying to do, right? But again, Eze by himself, can he do it alone? And the answer is no, especially today. I think he has done it in the past. For example, when he scored the hat trick and the double against Tottenham, Eze was the guy, right? He could do it. But in today's game, he couldn't do it by himself, right? Like I said, I want to give Mikel credit as well because when he did make those subs, the game literally changed, and we saw our quality and depth. Like we have, two teams essentially, right? We saw Mosquera making a start today, and Capi coming back, and those guys were pretty solid. Of course, they lack a bit of quality in terms of attacking, and especially when you compare our team to Bayern Munich, you compare our team to PSG and the way their fullbacks attack. And so you could see like right now there's a gulf in class, right? Liverpool experienced that when PSG put them out. Before that it was Chelsea. So the top Premier League teams are pretty good, but they're not at the same level as a PSG and a Bayern Munich right now. Right. I would say more so PSG because I think Bayern Munich is pretty fairly close to the top level Premier League teams, right? But PSG is a cut above because of the investments in the squad, because of the coach and the coaching style, and they've built their system for the last few years, and they've been really patient with Enrique as well, right? So, like I said, credit to Mikel because he did switch things up. He didn't allow it to get to 75 minutes, 80 minutes before making changes. He brought on Havertz, he brought on Jesus, he brought on Trossard, he brought on Dalman. So he did make those attacking changes because the game needed it. And that, I believe, gave us more control, especially in the last 20 minutes where we were able to dictate the game more. We kept the ball, we managed the tempo a lot better. And essentially, we killed the tie, right? There were a couple of, you know, scary moments, but overall, we were in control. And this is Arteta ball, by the way. Arteta ball is not pretty football, it's not tiki taka, it's very much controlled in the opposition half and dominating the tempo and dictating when and where you attack. So this is has Mikel's signature all over it, right? But as a fan, even as a neutral, Arsenal is probably one of the worst games you could watch right now, an Arsenal game, because it's just not attractive football. It's not a good brand of football. That's why I believe a lot of the neutrals want City to win the Premier League and PSG or Bayern Munich to win the Champions League because their brand of football is a better ad, right? A better, it promotes football better as opposed to the defensive, more workmanlike performances that we get from Arsenal. I do want to big up and highlight a couple of players, right? So Zubamendi, man of the match, I think deservedly so. I think he was excellent. I would also give a shout out to Hincapi. I believe he was really solid coming back. So Zubi, we saw work rate, we saw energy, we saw the runs, his legs were there. Way different performance as opposed to the weekend. And I think he literally intentionally just said, you know what, I need to step up because I'm being called into question in terms of my quality. And we saw marked improvement, right? Eze, really one of the best players attacking wise on the pitch. He was a creative spark. I think he tried a lot of things. Not everything came off, but he did set up Gyökeres with a couple of 1v1 opportunities or just outside the box chances to shoot. So Eze, I believe, really tried and really pushed us forward. Of course, our backline solid as usual, right? Goes without saying. Raya did have a couple of shaky moments in possession, which he needs to really cut out from his game completely. But we can't really fault the backline. I think those guys have been solid. They're the reason why we're in this position in the first place. Another clean sheet, right? To go with the clean sheet that he got at Sporting last week as well. So, like I said, overall, our performance was good. This was progress. This was an improvement, but it still wasn't the performance that many Arsenal fans, including myself, was expecting. I expected a lot better, but this team clearly is lacking confidence, right? We're lacking the quality of Jurriën Timber in the back, of Bukayo Saka on the right wing. Odegaard as well has been missing, although Odegaard is not my favorite player In my opinion, Declan Rice is a better captain, a better player. But we could see the holes in the team in terms of what we're missing, right? We're missing an other guy type player. We're missing a Saka, especially Saka. Um, so yeah, a lot to improve upon, but let's congratulate the team, right? Progress. We are in the semifinals for the second year in a row, and the reason why I think it's so important to kind of pause and smell the roses and to appreciate what this team is doing is because this is the first time in Arsenal's history, right? The first time in our history that we've reached two semifinals in a row. And the fact that we're on here, many fans, including myself, are saying, this is not good enough and that is not good enough. That tells you how much this team has improved, meaning that this is now our base expectation, right? We're top of the league. We haven't lost a single game in the Champions League. We're through to the semifinals. We have the best defensive record and the best record in the Champions League. Arguably, we are the best team in Europe on paper, right? And I believe that this needs to be shouted out, congratulated, whatever word you want to use. The team deserves the flowers for what they are doing right now. Yes, it's easy to focus on the negatives, focus on what we don't have, but I do want to focus on what we do have. And yes, I am worried about this performance not being good enough to play versus Man City or even good enough for Atletico Madrid, but we will cross that bridge when we get there, right? As we know, we beat Atletico 4-0 in the group stages of the Champions League this season, but it's a completely different outlook when it comes to knockout stages. Atletico has improved a lot. They brought in players like Lookman, and they just look a lot sharper, right? They're in gear. This is the running, right? So this is a different element. And of course, we know Diego Simeone is a veteran. He's been there, he's done it. He's just knocked out Barcelona. He's one of the most experienced managers, has one of the best win rates in Champions League history. So we cannot count them out, right? I think they are well equipped. I believe the tie is 50-50. They can win, we can win as well. And it will all go down to how do we perform at home versus how they perform at home as well. So that's it, guys. I just want to share my thoughts here. Like I said, overall positive, overall optimistic, pumped, looking forward to the next few games. But I am still a bit worried because I know that this level of performance is not going to cut it against better opposition. It didn't cut it against Man City when we lost to them in the Carabao Cup final. It's not going to cut it against Man City on this weekend if we play them in the Premier League on this current form. We have to improve. It's not going to cut it against Atletico Madrid. It's also not going to be good enough if we play Paris Saint Germain or Bayern Munich. We know we need to improve. So, am I excited? Yes. Massive weekend ahead, massive fixture. Come on, Arsenal. Come on, you guys. We don't even need to beat City. I would like us to win, as Thierry says. I would like us to beat City, right? Make a statement, right? Go there and show them how much this team has improved. But realistically, based on current form, without Saka, without our best attacker, without one of our best defenders in Timber, without our natural captain in Odegaard, I don't think we have like literally three or four starters that are missing. I don't think we are in a place right now where we can demand or expect a win against City. Hoping that Mikel does not set up too defensively, right? Hoping that we give it a really good go to take on City. But knowing Mikel and just the whole pattern of this entire season, I don't expect it. I expect him to keep things tight, to be structured, well ordered defensively. Two banks of four, and just have one person up top in Jokeres running the channels. This is Mikel ball, right? Hopefully, we can hold up the balls better. We can keep some form of possession. We can play a lot better than we did in the Carabao Cup final because this team has it in them. They can do better. All right, guys, I'm going to end there. This is my rant. Let me know what your thoughts are. Were you pleased with what you saw today? Do you just not care, right? We're through the finals, that's the semifinals, that's all that matters. Um, and that's a big part of the way I think as well. I mean, it doesn't really matter. We got the job done, we move on, right? But we know there's so much more that can come from this group. Let's hopefully we turn it around in time. We get back that spark, that attacking flair. We can impress some people and shut all the critics out. You know, all the naysayers, all those people with the bottle in their hand. Let's shut them up, right? It's time for us to make a statement. But I'm gonna cut this video here. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't yet, click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave us your thoughts, and yeah, we'll talk again very soon. Till then, bye for now.